All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. 1460 WXBR Boston. Peter Czymbor here with you on a Wednesday morning. Joining me now via the telephone is a man who is a co-founder and a guitarist for the very popular rock band New Found Glory. Him and his side project, What Eating Gilbert, performs tonight at the Met in Providence and Sunday night at the Middle East in Cambridge. It's Chad Gilbert of New Found Glory and What's Eating Gilbert. Chad, good morning.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Tell us a little bit about the side project, What's Eating Gilbert, and what separates it from other side projects you have done. Now, I don't use the term side project in a disrespectful manner, but you've had so many at this point.
No, I understand. Yeah, I've been a part of a lot of different bands over the years. What's Eating Gilbert, I think, is as selfish as this might sound, is just 100% me. Where I think other projects I've been involved with, it's sort of collaborating, creatively on things, working along with the rest of the band is like everyone being songwriters. But with this is like 100% like my lyrics, stories about my life, and all my songs. And it's funny because when I sit down to write these songs, I would do it in between New Found Glory tours and things like that. And eventually, when I was writing these songs, it was crazy because I realized how much my parents' music used to, I guess, had an impact on me subliminally, because if you listen to the What's Eating Gilbert stuff, a lot of it is, sounds like that sort of 50s and 60s pop rock music, So, and I'll write a song and be like, oh, I remember that. Like, that reminds me of a song like my dad used to listen to on his 8-track or something like that, So it's pretty cool hearing sort of a natural evolution or sort of subliminal impact thing their music had on me. You know what I mean?
Is it fair to say that this is really just a solo album under the auspice of the name What's Eating Gilbert?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Sorry, I'm in the van. We're actually on the What's Eating Gilbert tour right now. We're on our way to Philly for a day off. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I hate to say solo thing because when you think about solo, like a solo artist, to me, solo artists always come off so sappy. It sounds like that. It sounds like, oh, the guy in New Found Glory has an acoustic guitar and he's singing songs by himself and whatever. So it's like, I never want it to be like Chad Gilbert because it just sounds sort of, I don't know, sounds weird. You know what I mean? And What's Eating Gilbert is, it's rock and roll songs. So it's like, it's full band. It's not meant to be sappy solo songs. It's just like I said, like throwback to that 50s and 60s rock and roll my family used to listen to.
Now, this scenario where someone more or less does a solo album, but they call it something else, isn't entirely a new thing. This is sort of how Dave Grohl started the Foo Fighters, which at this point is a full-fledged band, but that first Foo Fighters album was more or less all him.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember that. But it never came off like that, which is cool,
No, absolutely. Now tell us what separates a What's Eating Gilbert stage show as opposed to a New Found Glory stage show. Once again, we're chatting with Chad Gilbert of What's Eating Gilbert, who performs tonight at the Met in Providence and Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. I guess the first thing that comes out to an observer such as myself is that you guys are playing smaller venues than New Found Glory would play. You like going back to the smaller venues?
Yeah, definitely. It's starting, it's starting over. And I think that's the most exciting thing about being in a band is not like where you go. It's like, how you get there and the things you do along the way. And that's what's exciting about this is like playing these smaller venues. This is a fun time, and yeah, it's really cool. It's all these venues are really small and intimate. And yeah, another difference besides even the size of venues you're saying is our stage wear. We all dress in nice clothes when we play. As opposed to us in New Found Glory, we'll wear the same jeans that we wore for like 2 weeks.
And another thing that might be different, just based on what you've said to me so far in this interview, New Found Glory is a band who has had an immense amount of success over the years. You guys have been very successful, getting a lot of support on rock radio, playing a lot of major tours and major festivals. You just mentioned moments ago that you're in the van on the tour right now. I can't imagine that New Found Glory is still in the van at this point. You go from the tour bus to the van.
Yeah, I think if New Found toured in a van, we would not be a band for very long. we would melt down and kill each other and run each other over. But the bus, we Newfound's very comfy touring in a bus, and we're lucky that we still get to tour in a bus. Because I think Newfound loves what we do. So if we ever had to tour in a van, we would. But at this point, we're still lucky enough where we're able to have our own space and things, and on a tour bus. But yeah, What's Eating Gilbert, it's fun. We have, everyone in my band is awesome and really fun to hang out with. And it's different when you tour in a van. When you tour in a van, you get to see the country as opposed to in a bus. You sleep in, you never stop. You wake up, you're already at the venue because the driver drives through the night. Where with us, we'll sleep at a hotel and drive all day and get to see the country and not so much like miss it,
Once
It's
again,
experience tour when you're in a van.
Once again, we're chatting with Chad Gilbert of Newfound Glory fame, performs with his band What's Eating Gilbert tonight at the Met in Providence, Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. Speaking of your band, who is on the road with you right now with What's Eating Gilbert? Who is your supporting cast, if you will?
It's my friend Honor. She plays tambourine and organ and keyboards, things like that. Our friend Junior, he plays bass guitar, and he played guitar in that band Set Your Goals. And he plays bass for this project when he's not doing stuff with them. And then actually the drummer of Newfound Glory, Cyrus Baluki, he plays drums in this for me as well, which is cool. That worked out.
What's Eating Gilbert?
I know Cyrus's schedule, so he can't get away from me.
What's Eating Gilbert clearly with less distribution than a band like Newfound Glory. What's the best way for folks to get your music? Because it seems like you've just put a lot of it out there for public consumption on the internet. Yeah,
I mean, there's always sites, the illegal download sites you can go to and download the songs, or you can go to my website, what'seatinggilbert.com, and there's links on there. Or you can go to iTunes. All the EPs are available on iTunes. Or Bridge 9 Records, which is a record label from Mass. And yeah, go to their website and they release one of my EPs. So there's those places. Or yeah, iTunes I think is the quickest and easiest way to get them all.
When you look back at when Newfound Glory started and when you look at the current music scene, do you ever think what you could have done with Newfound Glory if some of the technology available today was available then? I mean, kids these days aren't buying CDs, they're downloading off iTunes. They're less likely to see a music video on MTV than they are to peruse music videos on YouTube and things of that nature. It's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, Newfound's actually lucky, man. Like, we're lucky we got to experience the way music used to be, where I feel like, records weren't weren't disposable like a file you could just drop in a trash bin on your laptop, like back then when we were releasing records, it was, kids were waiting in line. We would do signings and kids would wait at midnight the night before, it was just like, and I know that still happens with some things with, pop artists and hip hop artists and things like that. But punk bands and rock bands used to experience that, but it's not like that anymore. There's not as many outlets. Like you said, it's all on the internet. So Newfound's definitely lucky to exist back before the internet took over, I guess you could say. And I think the internet is amazing for a lot of things, like I use it obviously, and that's how I get all my information and records and things. So, I appreciate it, but it's sad that, we have to create one day called Record Store Day to get people to go to the record store when used to, every week was Record Store Day. You know what I mean? Every new release day was people buying albums. You know what I mean?
Once again, we're chatting with Chad Gilbert of Newfound Glory fame and What's Eating Gilbert. What's Eating Gilbert performing tonight at the Met in Providence, Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. One thing you often hear a lot of people say, referring to the demise of actual records, CDs, and tapes, if you will, is that it ruins that experience for kids. Maybe we had back in the day where you'd open up the CD, you'd read the liner notes and things of that nature. I think one thing that's interesting nowadays about the internet is that it may be the demise ever so slightly of albums. Kids are downloading individual songs and singles more often than they are actual albums. Is it harder to put together a full body of work album nowadays, do you think? or get people interested?
I mean, for us, for us, our fans are, newer fans get into us by a single, but our New Found Glory fans, they don't even really love the single. Like, usually, New Found Glory fans' least favorite New Found Glory song on the record is the single. They love, the later tracks on the album. So it's easy for us to put together a full album of songs. But yeah, I mean, it's sad that when you think about artists going in to make a record, they're really focusing on a single. Like, all right, we need a hit. When, it just, music loses its substance. And, music is, there's different types of music out there. There's those guilty pleasure fun songs, but, it seems like that's starting to, outweigh the songs that used to be really good and also have something important to say.
Despite what some of your hardcore fans may say, if you guys did a show and didn't perform My Friends Over You, people would riot, and you know it.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, well, My Friends Over You, but I never think, that's one song that we've been lucky where it has been a single and also our fans' favorite song, like that was just the stars aligning, I guess you could say,
Now, we've talked about primarily two of your projects during the course of this interview. Of course, New Found Glory, what you're best known for, and What's Eating Gilbert, which is what you're touring in support of right now, tonight at the Met in Providence, Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. You always seem to be busy with different musical projects, however, whether it be different bands you're playing in, different bands where you're guest starring on their records, or bands that you're producing. What else have you currently been up to outside of New Found Glory and What's Eating Gilbert?
I don't know, man. Just really that. Just produce it. Well, I just produced a record for this band, sort of a hardcore metal band from California called Alpha and Omega. I just finished their record. That comes out on Pitch 9 Records, which is that, Massachusetts label I was talking about that also released What's Eating Gilbert's EP. They're an awesome band. They're cool because if you're a fan of like Pantera, but also a fan of, a hardcore band, you would love them. They're sort of like bridge the gap between those two things. So I did that, and that's pretty much it. If it's not producing, producing or touring with this or New Found Glory, it's pretty much what I do.
You have quite the eclectic taste in music. New Found Glory coming from a punk background. What's Eating Gilbert coming from more a traditional rock and roll background. You said you're very influenced by records you heard growing up that your parents played, and now you're producing metal bands and the like of Pantera. You're just all over the place musically, my friend.
Well, yeah, that's how I just love music. I don't just limit yourself with what you like. Most of my friends are like that too. Like all my friends who listen to hardcore and metal and punk rock and whatever. We like all styles of music.
And we all have our guilty pleasures that we have to admit that we enjoy from time to time. What's your biggest guilty pleasure musically?
Well, I'm a big fan of musicals. So you have a musical on, whatever it may be, I probably know it. And I also love Shania Twain. Big Shania Twain fan.
I'm a big Shania Twain fan as well. I'm not going to lie to you. I have sung I Feel Like a Woman by myself in my car before.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Man,
I Feel Like a Woman, great jam, yeah.
Absolutely. In show tunes, while I don't know many show tunes, when I hear them, I don't immediately dismiss them because they're show tunes. Seth MacFarlane's making a great career off performing show tunes at this point.
It's crazy. I love musicals are my favorite. I just watched Les Mis again in the van yesterday.
Can we expect a cover of I Dream a Dream on any of your upcoming projects or no?
I would just cry the entire time, so I couldn't do it.
Well, we don't want that.
I would sing and think of Anne Hathaway getting her teeth ripped out and just cry. You don't want that to happen.
That movie's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that movie's I remember seeing bits and pieces of the musical on some DVD I had to watch in junior high, and it seemed a little bit more lighthearted. The movie, pretty heavy though.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can when it's the actual musical, it's a little bit harder to follow along with the characters and who's who, and to a certain extent, not fully, but it's just like you're detached a little bit from the character, but when you watch it in the movie, you're like, oh, Anne Hathaway, I love her. she's from Devil Wears Prada. You know, I love that other movie. And so you see this sweet actress that, you know, getting her head shaved and teeth ripped out. You're like, man, that's really sad.
Really sad. Once again, we're chatting with Chad Gilbert of New Found Glory and What's Eating Gilbert. What's Eating Gilbert in action tonight at the Met in Providence. Sunday, they'll be playing at the Middle East in Cambridge. These are venues that you played coming up with New Found Glory. Prior to New Found Glory, headlined Warped Tour and did arenas and whatnot. So I'm sure there's a little bit of nostalgia in playing these old venues as well.
Yeah, I love it. The Middle East in Cambridge, that was like when New Found Glory had our first, show in Massachusetts. It's crazy. It's cool to be able to play that room again. I can't wait to see it.
And it's cool that there is a nice Massachusetts connection where we are with this band, What's Eating Gilbert, as your record label is based in the area.
Yep.
Perhaps
100%.
if you guys are in the area sometime, you'll have to stop by in studio.
For sure. Thank you.
Isn't it sad as well? We were talking about differences in the music scene from when New Found Glory was coming up as opposed to right now when you have this project, What's Eating Gilbert. There are some major markets out there where there is no significant rock radio play going on. And I guess the internet has sort of helped fulfill that void for a lot of these kids coming up who love rock and roll.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I completely agree.
Well, there you go. Chad Gilbert of New Found Glory and What's Eating Gilbert tonight at the Met in Providence, Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. Where can folks get more information on What's Eating Gilbert and how to go to these two area shows tonight in Providence, Sunday in Cambridge?
Everything's on what'seatinggilbert.com. Just go on there. There's the links for the tickets and the shows and the dates and everything. What'seatinggilbert.com.
And because people would flog me if I didn't ask, it has been a few years since New Found Glory has released a new album. What's the status of that band? When can we expect New Found Glory new music?
We just recorded 3 new songs, 3 new originals, and we just recorded a live recording in Southern California. We did 2 nights at the Chain Reaction, which is, I would say, our West Coast CBGB type venue. You know, it's like it's our venue where, you know, it's where you play when you're on the rise, you know. And we did 2 nights there, recorded the audio, and are going to release a live record with 3 new songs this fall, I think. So
very cool. We will look forward to that, and we encourage folks to check out What's Eating Gilbert tonight at the Met in Providence, Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. Chad Gilbert, thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning, my friend.
Thank you. Take care.
That's Chad Gilbert joining us here on 1460 WXBR. We'll step aside for a quick break. Back with more of the program after this.